And residents of Maiduguri in Borno State say the drilling project will create job opportunities. Community leaders praised NNPC Limited and President Buhari for making oil exploration a reality in the state.
Lucky to get this oil will achieve in so many things, especially the derivation. Derivation means our statutory allocation will be improved, will be increased, will be compared to other sister states where they have oil. Anytime, every month when we're in the government, when we go for election account meeting, those states with oil are always getting greater than other states where they don't have oil. So if we are lucky to get oil, definitely it will help the state a lot in so many things.
For making this event an epic event, we really appreciate, because it's something that has never been done in Borno State, and we expect positive development that we will experience in Borno State. It is a wonderful event, and inshallah more things will come to Borno State with regards to employment, with regards to developmental projects.
All right, we're now joined by the governor of Nasawara State, Abdullahi Sule, who's joining us live from Nasawara. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see you again, Mr. Governor. Well, it does seem like the president is going out on a high. I mean, Dangote Refinery yesterday, second Niger bridge that the Southeast has been waiting for as long as 30 years. And of course, the drilling in Wadi B, of course, in your state, oil has also been discovered. Let's even start from there. Where is it right now? The exploration started in March of this year. What's the level of progress?
Well, thank you very much. Level of progress has gone far. What happened is, they started by taking the campaign, for the drilling of the first exploration well. And as you have clearly mentioned, we started that, and they are almost to the completion, because this is a well that is just roughly about 18,000 meters, roughly a little over 3 kilometers. And the rig they have, has been working efficiently. I have been there a couple of times, and I've been talking to them. The community has been very cooperative. The traditional ruler, in particular, Osuko of Obi, has been extremely cooperative. And from all indications, there are no problems in that area.
Mm. Let me jump in here and latch on to what Ngozi had, because specifically, let's talk about the Obi, the Agwatashi and Aloshi parts of your state. The good thing is that you also double as a petroleum engineer. Speak to us about this discovery of gas.
Well, Nigeria is blessed with so many opportunities of the belt that we have. The belt we are talking about, where Nasarawa State happens to be, is called the Benue Trough. Benue Trough actually begins from Calabar, coming through Benue all the way, to Nasarawa Plateau, and is the one that extends all the way to Gombe, where you see Kolmani. So it changes name from where to here. Sometimes it is lower Benue Trough, sometimes middle Benue Trough, sometimes upper Benue Trough, but it's the same Benue Trough. And today, from what you saw, you also seen what is happening actually in Chad Basin, in Maiduguri. But let me go back to the one in Nasarawa. In fact, since 2010, that was when the geographic acquisition was made, when they saw a possible play of presence of hydrocarbons in Nasarawa State. At that time, it was in Kiana. And the way you mentioned the names, Angwa, Taishi, Obi, and the rest of that, seems you know the area very well. So it was actually in Kiana where the first hydrocarbons were found. So now they went further to acquire what they call the 2D seismic, the XY seismic. There they were able to see some significant amount of presence of hydrocarbons. and now they move gradually following the belt. It ended them a little bit away from Kiana, now in a place called Obi. In Obi, that's where they found significant, presence of hydrocarbons. And with that significant hydrocarbons, they decided that's where they want to drill the first well. So most likely in Nasarawa State, we may end up having discoveries in about 3 or 4 different local government areas, starting with Kiana itself, now into Obi, where we're drilling the first well, and most likely in Asakio, where the other well is going to be. So these are the kinds of things that I think I can discuss at the moment. And today, I just had the one of Borno State, where they say there is a presence of roughly about 900 million barrels in place. The one of Nasarawa, the one of Gombe, they said roughly 1 billion, and the one of Nasarawa a little over 1 billion. So we're beginning to see significant discoveries onshore, and this will not be different from what is happening actually in Saudi Arabia. Most of the big discoveries that you have, billion barrels, 2 billion barrels, 10 billion barrels, in Saudi Arabia, they are actually northern part of Riyadh. So it's deeply in the onshore area. So, and that is what we are beginning to see in Nigeria, and that is really a wonderful thing for Nigeria.
Indeed, and you can say that again. I mean, talking about a game changer, the President, Muhammadu Buhari himself, talked about the Dangote Refinery that was unveiled, of course, yesterday. And there's a drilling in Borno State, which you also referred to. It's like it's safe to actually say that all of Nigeria may just have oil, under its soil. But this drilling, whether in Borno, in your state, Nasarawa, and in every part of the country, what do you think it will really bring to the table? How much of a game changer really is all of this on all fronts?
Well, it is a major game changer because let me give you an example today. Yesterday was one of my happiest days. I came from Dangote to actually be the governor of Nasarawa State. And I was part of the Dangote family, when we started discussing about the refinery. Originally it was going to be somewhere in Ondo State. Then we changed, it was going to be in Ogun State. Then finally it's going to be in Lagos. Don't ask me why now, because that's a different topic altogether. So we started from there, and then it went in, and today, we started, it was going to be maybe roughly about 400,000 barrels per day, which is about the capacity of combined 3 refineries we have. The 3 refineries the government have today in Warri, Port Harcourt, as well as Kaduna, is roughly about 450,000. So we were going to have, one refinery in one particular place that was roughly that. But eventually, the dream kept growing until what we saw yesterday, 650,000 barrels per day, which is the largest so far, for a single trend anywhere in the world. And God gave me the opportunity to see so many refineries in Texas, where I live, and in California, and the rest of that. And this indeed is the biggest refinery that you can talk about. So that is a different ballgame altogether from what we are talking about, the oil and gas exploration that is taking place, because there is no exploration in Lagos. It's a refinery. It's purely a refinery and a petrochemical plant, as well as fertilizer plant and the rest of that. The crude oil has to come from somewhere, and the GMD yesterday promised that Dangote is going to continue to receive at least 300,000 barrels, per day. So that's a different ballgame. But what we are seeing now in the onshore is what you call an integrated field development. That is what is going to be happening right now. That is where you are going to produce the oil, you are going to refine it there, you are also going to produce your gas in the same location. In addition to that, you are also going to produce your power. Dangote has 435 megawatts of power in that location. That is enough to power all the southwestern part of the country, with the exception of Lagos. All the other 5 states, will be enough to power them. 435 megawatts. So now every one of these field development that we are talking about will also generate power. Enough power to power the plant, and also to be able to supply some neighboring communities, perhaps maybe the entire state. So those are the kind of things that are happening. But We have a long way to go. There is a lot of work to do. It is just the initial work that is being done. So I keep telling my people in Nasarawa State that it is not yet Uhuru. It's not like we are going to see oil, all this problem will be solved, this and that. No, there is a lot of work to do. There is going to be an appraisal well to be drilled. There will be a development plan. Then there will be the biggest of all the funding that is going to be required. It's the funding aspect that we are going to talk about. And the reason why we say it's going to be a game changer, well, then the history of subsidy will end in Nigeria. The history of all this importation will end. All this corruption about how much oil is being consumed in Nigeria, how much gasoline, is it going to be 60 million liters a day? No, it's 70 million. No, it's 30 million. All that argument will end. So that's the reason why they say it's a game changer.
Well, I think the good thing here is that even though you just wouldn't say anything about that journey from Ondo to Ogun, they will come. You'll be here in the studio. We'll talk more about that, and perhaps we'll talk about having some kind of projection into the future, especially about people and community. But quickly, let's talk about another bridge. Just today, we have seen the second Niger bridge, now Muhammadu Buhari bridge. The local Oweto bridge, which is a major intervention or gain by the Buhari administration, is something that would want you to tell us how this can actually help bridge regional development and commerce.
I think that's one of the most wonderful things, Muhammadu Buhari. And I'm happy that he's doing it the last week he's leaving. So he will remember some more. I also congratulate, Minister Fashola for the wonderful, I wanted to say governor or minister, Minister Fashola for the wonderful job that he has done to ensure that all these projects are being commissioned, at least the last week. The Oweto Bridge had been completed since 2022, but the minister refused to commission it. He is saying that the best way is to wait until the road is done. Now, to tell you, from Nasarawa town, it used to take almost 2.5 hours to Loco. Today, we went there in 45 minutes. 2.5 hours has been reduced to 45 minutes. That's how long it will take just to drive down to Loco. So apart from now, another distance from Oweto or from Makodi in Benue that you are going to drive on this road, coming through Lafia, through Akwanga, through Kefi before you go to Abuja. Now you can just go zoop from Oweto, Loco, Mararaba, Nasarawa, Kefi, you are in Abuja. So, the amount of effort that was put in there to ensure this happened, not just about the bridge, but the road is just so wonderful. Until you see it, then you can understand the effort, and then you see the excitement on the faces of the people. The people walk down. Even though today is a very happy day for them, we decided also to make sure that we connect them to national grid for the first time in the history of Loco. They didn't have power, so we had to draw that power 58 kilometers, from Mararaba, coming all the way to Loco. So as we are commissioning the bridge, we also, from the state, we had to do something. So we also commissioned their power. So and we installed about 500 kVA transformers. So Loco now is powered. So this is what government is all about. Government is about, what can you do to the people, to make the people happy. So the people in this entire area, coming from the southeast, into Benue, and then Nasarawa, and going into Abuja, will never ever forget, the effort of this government.
Yes, indeed. And let's talk very briefly about the politics of all of this. Of course, you really did not want to go deeper. Why it didn't happen in Ondo State and why not in Ogun State? As a matter of fact, one of the governorship candidates in Ogun State actually said they need to be investigated why they let this one slip out of the hands of Ogun State. But how do you think this will impact on Nigeria's politics? Because it looks like the bridges, the oil refineries may just unite Nigeria or unify Nigeria more. Will it impact on the equitable distribution of wealth, the commonwealth of Nigeria? How will it impact on those who have all the while felt left behind in the scheme of things when it comes to sharing the national wealth?
Well, from what you see today, actually 7 different projects were commissioned. I commissioned the Oweto Bridge on behalf of Mr. President, because he did everything virtual, and then he asked the governors along with the ministers to commission. So it was a pleasure, and I was sitting there when I watched the second Niger Bridge, which is actually another big dream for this country. So people from the southeast, southwest, south actually are going to benefit from that. I saw also a federal secretariat, in Gusau, which is named after Yahaya Gusau, wonderful thing that I think they did, and then the other one in Oka, and then the other one in Bayelsa, that was named also after President Jonathan, another wonderful thing that has been done, and then of course the various roads that you have seen. So there is another bridge actually in the south, I think it's either in Cross River or Akwa Ibom, I can't remember, but also that one was commissioned today. So these are the kinds of things. So that way, at least every part of the country has felt, the presence of government. And I think that's what it's all about. But I can only talk more about mine, the one in Nasarawa, that I can tell you that these are people who believe they had been forgotten completely. Loco is one area where they used to call it Loco London. And the reason why they were doing that was because the colonial masters used to come by boat, all the way from Lagos to Loco. And it was in Loco that they would receive the northern traditional rulers. But you can imagine, from that time colonial area to now, the people didn't have power. No power, no road. So today, they have road, they have power. So you can see the excitement, of those kind of people when I was there today. In fact, they gave me one huge fish. I've never seen a fish that big, so I believe they should have given it to Mr. President, So that's the excitement that people have.
So well, it's not just oil they have there in Nasarawa State, you even have fish. What else do you have that will actually impact on the economy? Speaking about Nasarawa State, especially as you still continue as governor for the next 4 years.
We have agriculture, and I think we have solid minerals. In fact, the state is called home of solid minerals, and that's what, since we came, that's what we have been banking on. We used to have our solid minerals taken from Nasarawa State, the raw material taken out. Today, we are beginning to see the value chain arrangement, where today, if you go to the market in Abuja, you will be able to see a lot of marble, a lot of tiles that are being produced straight from Nasarawa State and then brought here, because we have the companies that used to take just the raw marble out, and polish them and bring them back into the Nigerian market. So now they are doing everything in Nasarawa State. My dream is also to see barite, instead of the barite taken from here to Port Harcourt, and then maybe outside the country, because in every oil drilling operation you have barite and bentonite, and we have this in Nasarawa State, but they are always taken out, to other places for grinding. And we have lithium in Nasarawa State today. And we see a lot of this now. We don't have a company yet in Nasarawa that is producing this, but that is what we are trying to focus on in this second term of ours, so that we can have a company that will come in, even if it is batteries, for the solar that they are producing here. It makes a lot of sense for us, rather than taking the lithium in its raw form, outside Nigeria. And of course, Nasarawa is agriculture, so Nasarawa is also the seat of Dangote's biggest sugar plantation, 68,000 hectares of land that will produce roughly 1/3 of the entire total consumption of Nigeria. Today, that is also the home of Olam. Olam has his biggest rice plant in Nasarawa State. That's where they are producing that. So we are beginning to have a lot of this. We have flour mills coming into the state. We have Azman also in the state. We have Saru, Africa also coming to do rice and that. So we are beginning to see more, but we are not just dependent on the big commercial farmers. We are also looking at the smallholder farmers. And the Federal Ministry of Agriculture has been very kind to us. We have been supporting them. So today in Nasarawa State, we do rice twice a year. We do the off-season, and then we do the dry season and the rainy season.
Right.
So we've been able to do rice, twice a year.
Okay, well, I'd like to thank you for your time, and we do hope that some of the time in the days ahead, you should be back again for us to talk more about more development within that region. Many thanks, Abdullahi Sule, Governor of Nasarawa State.